Hello, everyone. Welcome to DNA's May 2024 webinar. I'm joined here with Nicky Cheung, the head of our advertising, the head of our media buying department here to speak with you about transforming traffic to high-level investments. We work on a high volume of investor marketing campaigns, investor acquisition, and we find the top 10% of campaigns move, the bottom 50% are pretty stagnant. You need enough traffic. We're going to get deep into that topic today. But what do you do if it's not converting? What if you're bringing investors to your deal and they're not purchasing stock, they're not purchasing shares? That's what our discussion is going to entail today. If you haven't seen our webinars before, we're DNA. We've worked on over 400 investor marketing campaigns that have collectively produced 9 figures of capital across content marketing, advertising, and outreach services, channels. Nicky, you want to introduce the audience, introduce yourself to the audience, tell them a bit about your background and what you do here at DNA.
Yeah, I would love to. Um, as you guys know, I'm Nicky. I'm media buyer here at DNA. Run all the paid social campaigns for all of the equity crowdfunding campaigns that we do. Um, Done over a couple hundred campaigns over the course of my time here at DNA, and have some interesting, wonderful insights that I can't wait to share with you guys.
Excellent, excellent. And those who are first-time webinar attendees, I'm Jason Fishman, part of the Forbes Agency Council, part of the Crowdfund Professionals Association board. I get to speak about these topics regularly at regulated investment crowdfunding conferences and events. This is our monthly webinar. We've put together this deck to be able to go through with you and are going to be going into the details. This is not just, fluff or high level on how much you could raise with Reg CF or Reg A, as much as how to actually get these campaigns to work. You're going to be looking at insights from the top campaigns of the year, of last year, of many of our rounds to date, and see the inner workings of how we're able to spend $1, get 10 back, get 20 back, especially on campaigns that are not performing, not producing right out of the gate, and have to be managed to a point of effectiveness. So, high traffic versus high conversion, understanding traffic and conversion challenges. Nicky, what does this mean to you? If a founder comes to you tomorrow and says, hey, I'm looking to raise capital online, I want to meet more investors, I need them to purchase shares online or submit a lead to me if it's a Reg D accredited investor raise, what does it mean to you if a client doesn't have a strategy around high traffic or how they're going to convert those audiences?
Yeah, if you don't have a strategy and you don't have a plan to drive traffic to your campaign, then you're planning to fail, right? So the number one thing that you want to do for any equity crowdfunding campaign, especially if your company is just starting out and you don't have too much raise, you want to start driving outside traffic, right? The best way to really drive traffic is through paid social, right? Where you can spend money and spend more money later on to drive more traffic. So the difference between well, there's really a difference between high traffic and high conversion when it comes down to traffic quality. If you're driving higher quality traffic, you're likely to get more conversions. But driving a lot of traffic doesn't necessarily mean that you'll drive conversions. So you'll have to drive more meaningful and more touch points when it comes to the traffic that you're targeting, which we'll get into later on in the slides.
Exactly. And I don't want to jump too far ahead either, but you want to be envisioning 50,000 plus visitors for $1 million raised on a Reg CF. That reflects 1,000 investors at a 2% conversion rate at $1,000 average each. Maybe that's $3,000 average each. Some of the self-publishing Reg CFs are able to accomplish that, but that's still only $3 million raised. And the Regulation A plus numbers are not much different than that 3 million. It's a lot of traffic to produce a substantial enough investors to be able to fill your round. And if we're looking at this from the investor's shoes, it's complex investment decisions. Investing requires more consideration, due diligence than typical purchases. This is not a sweatshirt, e-commerce apparel sale. It's a longer sales cycle. Potential investors need time to research, understand the value proposition, making the decision process longer and more complex. People who visit your offering page today may not invest for another 3 weeks. They may not put in any funds for another 3 months, and that is still okay. That is an effective model for digital marketing if you're running enough retargeting, if you have content marketing out there, if you have different activations that are bringing the audience back. And the single most important metric on these campaigns, we dive deep into the analytics, it is the conversion rate. So that's why today's webinar has been scheduled. That's why this deck was built, was to discuss how to increase the percentage of traffic that's converting into an investor. Nicky, how many times does an individual need to come back before they invest statistically?
So we've seen on a typical campaign, it will take about 7 to 17 touch points. Now that 7 to 17 is spread across different channels, organic, email, maybe you're doing updates on your portal, and paid social as well, where paid social is probably one of the more reliable ways to get a touch point because you can scale up traffic and you'll hit those touch points more often. And the reason it takes 7 to 17 is what Jason just covered before. People are doing their own due diligence. It's not investment is not really an impulse buy that doesn't really kick in until maybe later on in the campaign where you have very high momentum and there's FOMO kicking in. That's when people start, really impulse investing, if at all. But throughout most of your campaign, people are making decisions based on your momentum, your campaign updates, partnerships, even patents, maybe. So all that good stuff. And these touch points, they all contribute to the funnel and the investment process.
Absolutely. And as you're saying, Nikki, paid social is a key element to many of these fundraisers. I will mention it may not necessarily be the best and for every campaign, but certainly the most consistent. An area where we know, hey, every dollar or $2 we spend, it's a prospective investor getting to that offering page. So the likelihood that paid social will work over other channels is higher, a greater percentage of the time from what we've found. There are financial email newsletters who could feature you. The best ones are where the investor's paying for that deal flow. But then those publishers are extremely selective. 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000 issuers may get covered. And you could end up waiting a few months, where in that period of time, you could be running social advertising. And we find the click-through rate, the conversion rate on these platforms is favorable. You're reaching for people who don't know they're looking for you. And during a period of their day that they're discovering, scrolling through their social feeds. So in comparison to even other social advertising channels, we've seen Meta as a key fundamental channel. And in comparison to banner ads, sponsored content, video ads, all important pieces of a marketing mix, all things you should be considering towards your campaign. We commonly find that paid social is up there, but as we saw on the last page, in conjunction with these other organic and paid channels. Now, the raise page and retargeting, even with high traffic and an effective raise page, even with high traffic and an ineffective raise page or a lack of retargeting can hinder conversions. So you really need to make sure the narrative, the messaging is headline worthy on each section of the offering page. Strong campaign video, clear value proposition, robust social proof. People don't believe what they see on the internet. You want to be able to show as much third-party validation as possible and combine with a solid retargeting strategy. So retargeting, Those are those advertisements that feel like they're following you around online. It's going to be 7 to 17 touch points. The investor decision process is complex, as we've seen. So it's all in the follow-up, is what I was taught in my early career in business development at mobile ad networks, and a variety of different roles in advertising. It's all in the retargeting. It's a matter of showing that same advertisement to your prospect daily, more than you could follow up over email or with phone calls, text messages. You can run advertising, and those folks won't know how they're being targeted, just that they're being targeted with an advertisement for your company. In fact, studies show many target audiences don't even know that it's an advertisement. When they're asked later, hey, where did you first see this brand? Where did you see this investment opportunity? It's broad answers. I saw it online. I think I saw it on social media. I kept seeing people talk about the company when really it was just retargeting ads that were showing up and showing up and showing up for those audiences. I mean, there's been case studies where there was no content marketing running, there were no press features, and it was the advertising retargeting. Nicky, what could you say about audience quality and getting the right people to the right deal?
So traffic quality is extremely important just because paid social does get expensive sometimes. So you got to ask yourself, how do you reach the right audience at the right time with the right offer? So that all mixes in with targeting, and the quality of your traffic that you're going to drive to your campaign. And the if you think about it, Facebook ads, like many social media type ads, you're targeting within a pool of millions of people. So your copy, your graphics that you have on your ads have to be in tip-top shape because that is the goal of your ad. It's not necessarily to immediately convert the investor on the spot. Because remember, we need 7 to 17 touch points on average to convert. So your ads, really, the purpose of it is to drive traffic and then retarget with any social proof, milestones, all that good stuff. Once you have all that mixed in, then you're starting to really uh, hopefully drive more investments and then turn those maybe even like because prospecting that audience, the beauty of equity crowdfunding is really anybody can invest. So even in earlier stages of the funnel where you're targeting people, they might not be interested yet. I wouldn't consider that necessarily quality. But later on, when you're retargeting them, you're hitting them with maybe emails along the line, updates, new ads based on social proof milestones, all the good stuff. Then they start become a higher quality, right? Once they move down later into the funnel, and then they're more likely to convert.
And we've built a database of over 1 million historical regulated investment crowdfunding investors. We're able to target those audiences with ads to prospect. We are always creating new A/B tests and audience variants for each individual campaign for each individual client. And there is a lot of third-party audience data available in these ad platforms that allow you to go after individuals by their age, geolocation, down to zip code, and proximity has power to it. Interests, behaviors. You can be very, very specific on who you're reaching. You want to make sure that data is segmented enough so you can see a contrast from one audience to the next, not just bulk everything together. You want to have those variant tests to be able to see the analytics. We always have assumptions going into a campaign around who the best audiences are going to be, but we need the data to show us what's actually working and have those data driven decisions to be able to optimize towards what's working best. And as I mentioned early on, most of these campaigns don't work. They don't hit their full goal. A higher percentage do than offline and getting funded to be C-level from the stats we've been looking at on King's Crowd and other platforms in the space. Not all startups work. I mean, there's startup mid-market businesses in general. I mean, it's you're riddled with obstacles as a founder. So don't be discouraged by obstacles. Find ways to adapt and reach your goals. Due diligence period, need for momentum and updates, retargeting importance. You want to begin with the strategy process. So we have a model called the 8-point plan. Take a look at our webinars, our articles, our checklists on how to create your strategy. It includes a large degree of competitor marketing audits to see what's working for other groups in the space. Uh, really understanding your target audience, where they are online, what type of messaging they're engaging with online before creating your creative. Strategic partnership opportunities, even just having the projections and milestones and an algorithm of impressions, clicks, conversions that you're looking to hit for each channel, uh, an optimization strategy before you even go live. So hey, if it's not working 3 weeks in, 6 weeks in, 3 months in, here are the audiences we're going to change up. Here's the messaging. Here's the funnel variants. We could take them to a webinar. We could take them to a pitch deck download, whatever it is, depending on the type of campaign you have. You could test out different paths where you aren't asking for capital right away, but engaging, giving value, giving education before you get to that big ask. Now, what are realistic conversion expectations, Nicky? What should issuers be looking to produce and when?
Yeah, so throughout the campaign, your conversion rates really vary. Early on in your campaign, when you're starting out, you're getting friends and family through the door, maybe some initial traffic from people already know your brand. Um, you'll see conversion rates be higher once you hit, certain milestones like 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 or so. You'll see spikes in conversion rates, but throughout the campaign, like the middle parts of it, usually for the campaigns in general, we've seen campaigns slow down in the middle in terms of momentum and amount of money invested. Your conversion rate's likely going to be lower during that time. However, during closing, that's where we see much higher conversion rates, much more money invested, just because there's FOMO, and especially for campaigns that I've worked on that have high momentum at the end, um, they tend to convert very well. We've seen upwards of 7, 8, over 10% at times. So, you know, setting realistic goals for yourself is important, and understanding what to expect at each point of your campaign is important. And I can't stress this enough, but retargeting is so important throughout your campaign. When you're cold prospecting, you build up that retargeting pool, and it would be a missed opportunity if you don't take advantage of that later on in your campaign when you already had a bunch of touch points, and then you're at the end of your campaign and you need to utilize what you've done early on in your campaign, right? These are people who you've reached out to, who have seen your updates, all that stuff. So you want to target these people, especially at the end of your campaign. Scale up more on that retargeting audience and get that conversion rate up, get those investments to the door.
I can't emphasize that enough. We've seen issuers that I've worked with. We've seen issuers that we speak to stop their advertising mid-campaign, and you're stopping the follow-up. I mean, you should be running a retargeting campaign. A few dollars a day even could be enough to reach all of the individuals who have been to your offering page with retargeting ads and keep that presence up. It's more of a risk to lose those audiences if you slow down at any point in your campaign. And when I speak to issuers who complete with us or just on their own, they're talking to me about their last round and they have multiple 7 figures raised, but not the full 5 million on a Reg CF, or not the full 30 million they were going after on the Regulation A Plus campaign. 7 figures is nothing to balk at. We're going to talk about some stats here, but they told me, I got an email about it this morning. If we had done more of this, if we had worked with you guys, if we had utilized these channels during the middle parts of our campaign, we probably would have surpassed the full goal. So you want to set realistic expectations. You want to look at what's in the space. These are the stats that I was mentioning earlier. So 50,000 visitors, 1,000 conversions, that's a 2% conversion rate. Google says an average conversion rate is 2.35% internet wide. I like using the word internet across all digital channels. Average investment on a Reg CF, $1,000. King's Crowd said an average investment on Reg CF in 2023 was about $1,100, but I like using the round $1,000 number. And it takes into account the $500 to $1,000 average investment on a FINRA regulated portal, as well as more of a self-published campaign using a broker dealer. So, you know, you don't want to come into this and say, hey, we want to raise 5 million, we need to drive at least 250,000 people, and you see a 0% conversion rate and you keep paying for traffic to lead into it. But you do want to plan for that 250,000 visitors and understand, here's how we're getting the traffic there. We're going to be featured in these email newsletters. This is the amount of traffic they're projecting for us. We're going to be featured in newsletters for the portal, for this conference we're speaking at, for this podcast I'm going to be on, to our audience. Here is the amount of traffic that we're projecting off it. We're going to buy more traffic with advertising. We're going to work with these influencers. They're projecting this amount of traffic for us. And you may have to do additional things for compliance there. But you want to have these type of algorithms and think proactively about how you're getting those audiences there. Now, let's talk about the market for a second. 420 million raised in 2023 using Reg CF, 423 million in 2022. There were market fluctuations there, and actually less of a drop in this vertical than many other areas that are more traditional for capital raising. 1.7 billion cumulative at the end of 2023 since 2018. So there are funds coming through these vehicles. Meanwhile, a percentage didn't meet their minimum goal, which is set by the issuer. Oftentimes it's 10,000, 100,000, low amounts, because if you don't hit your minimum goal, you can't take out the funds. There was 1,434 companies that launched a Reg CF in 2023. 11 of them hit the full 5 million. Only 11, 0.76%. 107 hit $1 million or more, 7.46%. Now, there are asterisks to this. I know groups that raised other amounts private, outside of these rounds. If you had a side-by-side Reg D, this may not be calculated in your Reg C raise. Some of the offering pages will show, raised before going live on the portal. It'll show the amounts. So there may be some numbers that appear differently. Also, we worked with a group that did 3 million in July and 2 million in December. Full 5 million, 2 different rounds. That's not going to show up here. We worked with the group that sold out at 4.5 million. Board would not, approve additional shares to be sold. So there are companies that were doing very well that aren't featured in this list. But more often than not, when I hear discussions about why to use Reg CF, it's that you could raise 5 million in your filing year. Not really the case for 99%, over 99% of issuers. Meaning you want to do everything you can to make sure you have this amount of traffic or more. Project conservatively on this conversion rate. Maybe you're hitting a 5%. I've seen campaigns with 5 to 10% conversion rates, but I've seen campaigns that were hitting their goal with 1% conversion rate. You need to make sure you have as much traffic from the right audiences as you possibly can. Now, we're going to speak further about what to do when that traffic's not converting. But step one, make sure you're getting enough traffic. If you're looking into a conversion rate optimization discussion and getting your page to convert more investors, but you only have 100 people, 1,000 people who've been to your page, it's not even conclusive data. I spoke with an issuer yesterday that said they've only gotten 3 investments in the past 2 weeks. Prospective issuer, not working with them yet. And then we looked and they had less than 100 visitors. That's a fantastic conversion rate, but they need more traffic. So, hopefully we're going to work with them to get them that amount of traffic or more per day. But you need to make sure you have enough. Campaigns do not. I mean, that's what we're seeing here. campaigns are not producing enough traffic, their offering pages are not converting at the right level. Do you want to write the whole, regulations, crowdfund vertical off and say, "Oh, it doesn't work, only 7% raised $1 million or more"? No. It's doing something for those 107 companies that we see here. You want to figure out how to be one of those companies. We want to see a higher success rate industry wide. That's why we put out all of this content. And we work with many of these groups. Going to show you, how to do that firsthand here. But if there's one thing we could agree on, there needs to be a higher success rate industry wide. There needs to be more traffic, and even issuers who are doing well need to be exploring more traffic channels to get more individuals to their offering. Time will run out. They need to be working on the never-ending process of conversion rate optimization and optimizing the funnel, which is we're going to get into here. So Nicky, if you're seeing a 2x, 3x, 5x return on ad spend on the campaign, and you're shooting for a 10x or higher, which we do internally here, and it's recommended industry-wide, I know your mind goes to, okay, we need to optimize the funnel. What does that process entail? And to begin, what are we talking about when we say the word funnel?
Yeah, funnel relates to the marketing funnel, where there's top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, where top of funnel is really your brand awareness campaigns, driving traffic. People are just seeing your campaign for the first time, really understanding your brand for the first time. Where middle funnel is when people, okay, maybe they've signed up for your emails, they're getting your retargeting ads, maybe they're following your campaign on your page, they're looking at your updates frequently. And then bottom funnel is really the time to strike and get that investor through the door through various means, whether it's more retargeting, maybe you're giving them a call, even shooting them personal email. We've seen issuers do that, and we've seen that do really well. When it comes to top funnel, how do we optimize the funnel? Right. When the first question I get asked when a campaign's not working is, why is my traffic not working? Right? Why is it not converting? So depending on where you are in the funnel, where the traffic is dropping off, you're going to want to make different changes. So top of funnel, if maybe you're not getting enough traffic, you're not getting enough clicks, this is what you need to do. Audience targeting, audience segmentation, A/B testing, ad creatives, and messages. So what I mean by that is, when it comes to Facebook, there's probably like thousands of audiences you can target, right? How do you narrow down your audience targeting so that you're reaching the people and effectively spending your money, right? So there's demographic targeting. You can even target through income, right? Most investors, you want them to have some type of money to invest into your campaign, right? You can sort these people by income. There's age ranges. If you're seeing a specific gender perform much better than the other, that's something to test out as well. There's lookalike audiences you can also use on Facebook. I'm mostly speaking about Facebook just because we've seen much more success on Facebook versus other platforms, namely like TikTok, or other ones. So ad creatives is another one. This is where it's like huge. Your messaging will change the quality of traffic and even the clicks that you're getting through to your site. You want to convey the correct message. On top of that, you want to split test different ways to convey that message, whether it's your mission, your value prop, testing even different, maybe you have static graphics you're testing, test that alongside videos. We've seen selfie videos perform really well. Just pick up your phone, record yourself saying something. Usually that looks like a first 5 seconds, going to be a hook. Middle, talk about your campaign, top reasons to invest. Close with the call to action. Takes like 30 seconds, right? Doesn't have to be high production. Something that's more personable, something that's supposed to show up, that looks like it's supposed to show up in someone's news feed, works much better than something that's high production as it stands right now. Middle of the funnel email marketing strategies is really important. Reaching out to those people, emailing them with updates, because some people, they go to your site, maybe they'll follow, they'll get emails once you update, depending on the portal that you're on. But for the most part, they'll get emails based on your updates. If you have a new partnership, if you got a patent, if you hit a new milestone, any of that, that's really important to drive that social proof up. I mean, I've really never seen a campaign, succeed without that social proof, and driving higher momentum. And then retargeting techniques here, you want to get those touch points in, whether it's through paid social, organic, email marketing, and then bottom of the funnel landing page optimizations. If you are driving a lot of traffic to your page and people are not converting, you need to ask yourself why it's not converting on the landing page. Why are people dropping off on my landing page? That's where you have to think, how can I optimize my landing page to get people through the door? Um, so there's different ways we can test that. We'll actually talk about that later on in the presentation. I'll save that for later. And then testing different destination pages. You could test out different pages. Different pages obviously will perform differently. So yeah, that's just another way to split test the traffic you're driving.
Feel like a slow clap. If you saw one page of this webinar, that would be it. I mean, Nicky rifled through that. And again, hundreds of campaigns Nicky's worked on directly. It's those findings that are in the background as he's sharing those notes. It's those weekly calls with clients that have put all of this time, budget into legal, CPA audits, marketing expenses, and are not getting a high enough conversion rate. And not just coming to that call one time, but weekly, and needing to show improvements and lifts, needing to get to a point to where they hit their full goal. We're able to create a case study uh, that have crafted Nicky's answer there. Key elements of the raise page, using that as an anchor. And you can see a lot of Nicky's recommendations: upper funnel, mid funnel, low funnel, off page, off site. Search engine optimization ranks heavily for what's occurring off your site. Same deal with a Reg CF campaign and the page versus what's showing up outside of the page. But the page itself, the campaign pitch video, market opportunity, top reasons to invest, social proof, we'll say again, with milestones and press features. These are the fundamentals to look at. In a campaign video, don't be afraid to edit, create a stronger one if it's not converting, because this is a focal point. It's designed to encapsulate what a sit down with you, the founder, would consist of. But it's designed for digital, for scale, for thousands, maybe millions of visitors, depending on the type of offering and the magnitude behind it. A large Reg A campaign could easily have millions of visitors to it. So is that video doing you justice? Does it have a beginning, middle, end? Does it allow the audience to connect with you as an individual, to understand the leader who's steering the ship? Does it talk about the problem solution? Does it talk about the competitive differentiators? Does it talk about the trajectory? Does it talk about growth in a compliant way? Does it get people excited enough about what's to come for your vertical, for your company, and for potentially them? You need to paint the picture that this is that moving ship that they can hop on. It's going to its destination. It's going to hit higher valuations. Again, you have to say this all compliantly, and you're communicating this. But this is their opportunity to hop in. And now is the day to create action. You don't want them coming in during the closing day, the closing weeks. And you'll, of course, see a spike of investments if you hit those stages. But the idea is you don't want to hit those stages. You want to close your round out early. You don't want to be on edge, seeing if those audiences are going to come in. And that could be affected by current events, market conditions, things around the economy, war could impact how people invest that day. So you want it to all happen earlier. You want to create immediacy, and you're able to do that through the campaign video, showing a large enough game in the market opportunity and the top reasons to invest. And you want this information to be very consumable. So easy to understand and grasp that not only the prospective investor gets it, but they can share it with people in their network. They can sell on your behalf. Don't have any words in the messaging that are not needed. Less is more, but every word needs to be impactful. And you're telling a long story in a quick window of time. You're getting seconds, maybe minutes from these prospective audiences. Good pitch video, 2.5 minutes, minute and a half to 3.5 minutes. As soon as you start getting over five, you really got to question, is everything in here serving a purpose? You could have longer videos, you could have webinars, you can have different pieces of content that are over an hour. And there's a psychology, behind why audiences, convert in those scenarios. But that first pitch video needs to be extremely, extremely digestible and repeatable. Nikki, what does above the fold mean?
Yeah, above the fold is when people first click onto your landing page and the first thing they see without scrolling is what's called above the fold. Anything under that is called below the fold. Now, what makes this important? For this slide, I want you to put yourself in a prospective investor's perspective. So you see an ad on Facebook, you play the video, you read the copy, you love what this company does, right? So you click onto the landing page to find out what they do. And you have to remember the number one thing that investors are asking you when they land on your landing page is, how is this company going to get me my return on investment? If I invested into this company, how are they going to get me more money back? And how are they going to do it? Who are the people behind it? And what does that market opportunity look like? What are the top reasons to invest? And you want to fit that information. I don't want to have you clutter above the fold, but the most important information should belong above the fold. So we have a quick example here of EarthGrid. Um, you can see on the right side, or sorry, left side, they have this campaign video. People can play it to learn what they do, some top reasons to invest. And they have like a quick, I want to say like it's kind of small, but it's like one or two sentences, three maybe, that kind of describes what they do. And on the right side, they'll have some investment information. And one of the important things I see on that is the amount of money they've invested, right? People don't want to invest in a stagnant campaign. They want to invest in a campaign that's constantly moving, constantly updating,
Yes.
and constantly showing results, right? Because if you're showing results now, that's an early indicator that you could show promising results later on in the campaign, or in the company, and investors love to see that. So what makes a strong above the fold landing page? Strong headline plus description, like Jason said, campaign video, short, quick to the point, top reasons to invest. These are all really good points to add into your above the fold. And you have to remember, this is the only part of the page that people are guaranteed to see when they land on your landing page. You cannot guarantee that someone will scroll under to read more. So when it comes to this part of your landing page, you need to make an impression. You need to encourage the investors to continue scrolling, and you want to capture their attention so that they're continuing to read on. Nowadays, people have much shorter attention span. The fact that they clicked on your video or your ad means you've already done a good job. So now how can you even go even deeper and have them scroll and continue reading about everything that you're doing? And then after that, get them to make an investment.
Here's another example for Atom Beam. This is a Regulation A campaign that currently has over 5 million reserved. You can get a piece of Atom Beam, hyper efficient AI machine communication. Atom Beam software technologies are force multipliers, machine data communications, enabling 2 to 4x more data to be sent over existing networks with strong added security. Every word there serves a purpose. Reserve now. Strong call to action. It's in orange. This portal start engine performs its own conversion rate optimization, as it has found this button to produce the highest click-through rate, to then get the next metric, the conversion rate that follows, to the strongest level it can based on other tests. Reasons to invest. We're able to do the glance test here. Tech company with products. So we're able to see that it's their technology, 4x faster, eyes gravitate towards the numbers, more secure, substituting for billions in hardware upgrades. Okay, partners, social proof. NVIDIA, Intel, US Space Force, Saab, all featured there. Company was awarded 2.4 million in defense contracts, holds 35 patents, speaking about the technology above, for defensible momentum. Atom Beam has attracted top board and management talent. Excellent talking about the team. Proprietary AI, NERCOM can double the effective performance of the image, video, and audio compression. This did not happen overnight for Atom Beam. Charles, their founder and the team, went through many iterations. Charles has been doing this for years and has seen increased success over time based on the changes he's made to these reasons to invest. As Nicky's mentioning here, this is all the investor has to go off of. You can have larger paragraphs, you can have larger bodies below, but you want to make it as easy as possible for these audiences to go to move forward and to have them go through the whole page word for word versus sell them with the reasons to invest before getting into the next sections has produced stronger results. If I can't do the glance test on your campaign, if I can't tell you the top 3 reasons to invest, the top 3, standouts of the company quickly, am I going to invest in your deal or another campaign that is able to accomplish this on the same portal, or that's targeting me with ads or marketing or whatever it is. As Nicky mentioned, the more momentum you have on your page, the more of a crowd effect. Social dynamics at play. The top 10% of campaigns are moving, the bottom 50% are stagnant. How can you communicate that in the messaging on your page? You can't necessarily make investors invest, but you can control these aspects of your campaign. There are other variables, but you can determine what's in your pitch video, what's in your offering page. You can use this off your offering page. We make top reasons to invest advertisements. You want to do social media posts, email, articles around each of these points, and continue telling that story throughout the course of your campaign. Nicky, you want to touch on Avadain here real quick?
Yeah, so pretty much when I look at this page, it's fundamentally very strong. There's actually on the left side screenshot, you'll see a quick description of what they do. And what really stands out to me when I quickly glance at this is number one, disruptive green technology. I'll see $100 billion market. Panasonic backed. That's a name that everybody knows. No known competitors. Those are the 4 things that really stand out to me when I quickly glanced at that, and those are all very strong points to put into your quick description of what you guys do. It's just like one, I think, couple sentences, 3 sentences at most, on that description, and then once you scroll a little bit, this is just one scroll, by the way. Under that, you'll see some top reasons to invest in big, like bold purple. They have previously raised a net capital of 1.3 million. That's strong and that shows momentum. Extremely important and helpful for your campaigns. And, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through all those, other points, but those are some really strong top reasons to invest when it comes to investing into any company.
So this is circles. I want to point out one more thing about Avadain. Even with that previously raised amount, it took 4 months to hit their first $1 million on this round that we're looking at. With that traction, it only took 2 months to hit their next million, and then another month to hit their third million, and then 3 weeks to hit another 1.5 million. So it's a collaborative of the video, the offering page, the advertising, the content marketing, and outreach that's being done. But any one of these missing pieces can affect the conversion rate, which is that crucial level of the funnel that brings in funds for your raise. Circles, this is the social recommendations app, a Yelp killer, as they say, and it's all based on positivity and positive reviews. There's no negative reviews. So they had a successful campaign prior and did 2.34 million in April here. Raised over 5 million in rapid succession. Amazon, AWS Activate, 100,000 recipient from NVIDIA. We're seeing NVIDIA again. Officially post revenue. Day 2 retention over 60%. That's big for a mobile app. Over 650 positive ratings. #1 trending app on Kickstarter. March 2024 King's Crowd staff pick. All about positivity. John Worthington, their founder, does an excellent job telling the story on why he created Circles and what Yelp was doing to some of his businesses, and it's very relatable. They have an extremely engaged audience. Their audience showed up. Advertising brought in historical regulated investment crowdfunding investors and continued to convert this audience. But this is what they saw. This is what they moved forward on. Now, I want to talk about a few things for advertising setup here before we get into building social proof and momentum. For the sake of time, I'm going to fire through it here, Nicky. This is what Nicky and his department do. But if you're looking at traffic sources to get to these offering pages, it's not a matter of just setting up a channel and looking to see performance. It's all a matter of how you use that tool. That's what these ad platforms are. They're tools. And I really like the analogy of a supercar, a sports car. If Nicky and I were racing each other in a Ferrari and alongside a professional Ferrari driver, that driver's going to have us by a mile. He's going to be able to open up capabilities of that vehicle that we can't even touch because that's his area of focus. It's the same thing with these ad platforms. Anyone who posts on social media can boost a post and have ads running to a piece of content. But it's a matter of how you're setting up the campaign for success, how you're isolating data to be able to find pockets of performance, to be able to ramp towards. 4 to 10 audiences at a minimum to begin with 2 to 6 creatives each. You run for 3 to 7 days with 1,000 clicks per segment. You could do 3 to 7 days total. You could do 1,000 clicks per segment if you're running a larger ad budget. Anything less than that time window or that amount of clicks is inconclusive data. It's ones and zeros. It could be, a fluke. You want to analyze every impression, click, and conversion along with the retargeting pool and report. A lot of clients just want to focus on the return on ad spend, and that is the important metric. But good CPMs, the cost per 1,000 impressions that you're buying at, good click-through rates, good cost per clicks make all the difference there. If you're getting a $1 cost per click versus a $2, your return on ad spend could be a 5x versus a 10x. So you want to start optimizing at the top of the funnel. From there, you want to analyze the creatives and optimize towards the improved performance of each creative before removing any. You then want to run for an additional week, 3 to 7 days, or 1,000 clicks per segment, and then start reallocating spends to the top creative. But only at that point once you've already looked to improve them. Run for an additional week or 1,000 clicks per creative. Next, optimize at the audience level, the ad set level. Optimize towards the audiences that are doing best. Increase the daily pacing to those segments. And key performance indicators are now much more clear. You do it for another 3 to 7 days, 1,000 clicks per ad set, seeing strong return on ad spends, scale the budget on those top performing audiences or campaign wide. Duplicate ad sets and narrow down to individual pockets of performance. If you see gender, device, geo-target working within those ad sets, and you can look at that data for any live ad campaign, you can now have a duplicated ad set, but just towards those individuals. Continually test new audiences and creative. You don't want to have your hands tied to those key drivers. They could slow down while maintaining the historical drivers. As channels are optimized and maintained, you can begin optimizing towards top channels. So you could say, hey, Meta is performing better than Google Performance Max, or towards, Outbrain, Taboola, Stack Adapt on the native advertising side, or, maybe you're advertising through email newsletters, and then scale channels every 3 to 7 days. You want to do it incrementally. We're going to show you some examples of when we've done this all in a week. It's not recommended, but we're going to show you those type of examples. This deck is available to you. There's advanced strategies here on how to build up your retargeting pool with prospecting ads that have a lower cost per click, how to use lead form ads and get a conversion before you're taken to the offering page, have their email address to reach them across multiple channels, to test new ad products, to find new data partners, to leverage new creative formats, to develop retargeting pools with video views so you can get a much lower cost, large retargeting pool. And that's really where the performance comes from. Remember, it's all in the retargeting. Understanding bid power and how you could adjust that to have better performance on these auctions that take place on the ad platforms, advertising from other pages and making it seem like a media publisher in your space is advertising versus just your brand advertising, and developing a replicatable user journey so that you could continue to scale. Remember, marketing campaigns don't work upon first attempt in most cases. Most brand launches fail, let alone offering pages, and a focus on analytics, not just the end metric, for identifying, moving, and managing is going to be what it takes to get there. A good marketer is a good problem solver, and even the top campaigns slow down. I could tell you when the top issuers wanted to stop their campaign and what we were able to point out in analytics to get them to continue and how they raised millions of dollars more by doing so, and to engage experts. We welcome calls at any point. So do so does every other group in the space for the most part. Success is available, and you want to figure out how to get these digital platforms to work for you, not whether or not they will work for you. So that was a mouthful. Nicky, what does building social proof and momentum mean?
That just means driving more traffic and getting more investments to the door, continue to retarget and get those people, and really consistently communicate your progress, like it says on the slide here. Regular updates on capital raise, highlighting new investors and partnerships, recent features. These are all really important to drive social proof and momentum towards your campaign. Regular updates, people, investors love to see updates. They don't want a stagnant campaign. Highlighting new investors and partnerships. If you have a key investor, maybe an investor testimonial, even share that with prospective investors. People want to see that. People want to understand why other investors are investing, not just their own perspective, right? There's many different perspectives on why your company could be a good investment. They want to hear it from other investors. Partnerships as well. If you have a feature from a big company like Adam Beam had for, I think it was like the Air Force. That's something to announce and talk about with your prospective investors.
And a few examples here about recent press features, how many reserved shares, write-ups, more features, can show that all visually. You want to talk about retargeting pools for a little bit here?
Yeah, retargeting pool, there's many different ways to build it. Um, running traffic campaigns, you're running conversions campaigns, you're utilizing video view and page view retargeting campaigns. Um, you're really building out when you're doing cold prospecting, at the end of the day, your goal is to build out a massive retargeting audience to then utilize for your touch points, right? For middle of your campaign and later on in your campaign, that becomes more and more important, and your retargeting pool becomes more and more valuable as your campaign moves along. Optimizing performance here, identifying high performance segments and creatives. You want to continuously test and optimize your not only cold prospecting campaigns but also retargeting, and later on your email marketing campaigns and your landing page.
And don't ignore the importance of organic social media. We'll have issuers question whether they need to be doing this. Social media sites rank very highly on search engines. Uh, Nikki, I know you're a big TikTok user. You evaluate brands based on what they're doing on TikTok. Other team members, Instagram, or other social channels, they'll search there first. You can reach your first and secondary connections. You can post regularly across these. If I'm doing due diligence on a company, I'm going to look at their social feeds. I often do before I get on the phone with people. And what you post there says something, and what you don't post there points out something even larger. So, we've talked about all these ideas, uh, have plenty of case studies with 31x, 118x, 22x, and even coming on to campaigns at later stages, 11x. Here's some of the campaigns we looked at with Avadain. Earth Grid. Uh, Here's one for Boxable, and the first month of a Boxable campaign for Reg D issuers, Reg D investors, accredited investors. Here's information for that Circles campaign, 13.66x on the Pixel. Uh, and some of the videos that are present here. Um, Here's a campaign, MagFast, that just completed a few weeks ago, and this took place in 6 days. Nicky, how did these guys see performance in 6 days and get a huge amount of investments in that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, this campaign was wild. So they actually started off very strong. They hosted their own webinar, and they already had a good following from their customer base and people who were already receiving their emails and attending the webinar. So at launch, I think on day one, they were already over 500K. And your initial launch is a strong indicator of how you're going to do maybe later on in your campaign as well. So they started 500K very strong. They came out amazing, and then the momentum just built on from then on out, right? They had a good budget for advertising. They actually started with $500 per day, and they were quick with it. They quickly scaled up, and they took all of our recommendations. They went to $1,000 next couple days, and then 5,000 during their last like 3 days of their campaign. So this was like, as a reminder, this was like a maybe 6.5 day campaign, and they saw a lot of success with, as you can see, the screenshot here with Seymour. It's a selfie video. It's literally, I don't recommend, necessarily taking a video of you while driving, but that's what worked for him, right? He
Yes.
took a quick selfie video. He picked up his phone, just recorded himself talking. In this case, he happened to be driving. I think he has a Starbucks in his hand as well. He just like a morning drive, picked up his coffee, just took a video, and that's what converted. That's what drove him, hundreds of thousands of investments, right? It's something like that that you maybe don't think about necessarily, but it's something simple like that that gives you, 1.3 million, 157 pixel conversions, 5.8x pixel return, and over 3% conversion rate, and over 1,100 investments as well. So something like that, and key takeaways from this video is really, or sorry, campaign, is to really start strong, scale quick, and scale aggressively. In this case, they had to, and utilize a variety of creatives. We saw several videos work very well, so we continued testing over like 10 different, I think 10, 20 different ad creatives over the span of a week, and we scaled up from there, and they ended up closing very strong.
And Seymour and the MagFast team, I mean, they're marketing geniuses. Seymour has an hour-long story video looking to sell the product and talking about how the wire feels, how much stronger it is than any other wire out there. They sell them in 5 packs, 10 packs, so it's not just a one-off e-commerce conversion in most cases. And they've really broken down the psychology of how their audience thinks and what gets them to act, what gets them to move. The 5.84x pixel ROAS here, we're only able to track about a third of the conversions currently on Meta. Really limits mobile conversions in general from iOS users. So projected to be 3 times or higher. This is just from that pixel data and just in 6 days. And as Nicky mentioned, we were on calls with them daily, scaling the ad budget, optimizing creatives, optimizing the funnel, targeting the webinar audience. We did 6 days of webinar advertising before that. They had over 600 signups for their webinar. So can send over this deck, have the videos, you can see them firsthand here, and also available for questions after the webinar. You're welcome to message us directly here. I think we did it, Nicky. I think we have been able to talk about how to manage a campaign to effectiveness, how to get traffic to convert, especially if it's not working right out of the gate. This has been an excellent presentation. I want to give a shout out to Khalil, Brendan, the full creative studio and content marketing team here at DNA for putting together this presentation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here as well. And as we mentioned, please reach out to us, LinkedIn, our website, whatever works best. We are an open book in terms of what to do for marketing and investor acquisition on these Reg CF, Regulation A, Regulation D campaigns. Excellent. Well, thank you, Nikki.
Awesome.
Awesome
Thank you,
stuff here
Jason,
today.
for
I felt
having
like I
me
should have
on.
taken notes myself.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a pleasure to share some insights with you guys, and always test optimize scale.
Boom. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next month.